So in this third installation of the series, I want to talk about the Andaz Fifth Avenue. And I'm very excited to talk about this hotel because I think so far out of all the 4 Hyatt hotels that I've seen in New York, or at least Manhattan, this one has to be my favorite. So as always, let me start by talking about the negative things. And there are a couple ones. As I mentioned in other videos, the overall level of hospitality that you can find in the US is just sometimes not as high as you find it in Asia or other places in the world. So one thing that right off the bat irritated me a little bit was the service. So we came in with our luggage for check-in, and it really took a long time for the staff to notice us and to actually help us with the check-in. And first impressions are important, so this one was a bit annoying. Additionally, to be honest, they weren't very friendly, at least during our check-in process. So we weren't off to a good start, to be honest. When we came into the room, I really liked the room. However, what we could see is that, for example, in the bathroom, unlike the Andaz at Wall Street, there were hardly any amenities, which was a bit odd, given that the same hotel brand had so many more amenities at the location in Wall Street. The breakfast was a bit odd. This was more of a disappointing point for me. Like many hotels in New York, the Andaz Fifth Avenue had a system where you would actually order a meal for breakfast. So you didn't actually have a buffet from where you could pick your food, but rather you would order from a list of dishes. I think it was around 8 to 10, and you would be basically set on this one option, which in my opinion is always a bit annoying, because I like to start off with some bit more savory food, salty food, and then go towards sweeter options, but you're basically stuck with either salty or sweet. Since my father had the globalist status, we were able to get one dish plus one juice plus one hot drink. So that's great, I guess, but still I do prefer a buffet. I think most of us do, just so we can adapt the breakfast to our needs. A bit weird was that, given the lack of space in New York, the breakfast you actually had in the basement. So there was a bar in the basement, which was, design-wise, it was quite nice, but it's kind of weird to sit in a bar setting in the basement for breakfast. Like, usually you want to, at least for me, I want to have it as bright as possible and see the sunlight and get ready to start my day. And it was quite gloomy and dark down there, so that wasn't ideal. But at the same time, I have to say that it was very modern. The interior was very fancy, so it was actually quite nice still. Furthermore, as with any Andaz in the world, as far as I know, they do have a wine hour instead of the lounge. So usually between 6 to 7, 6 to 8 p.m. you will get free wine in the lobby or some lounge area for every guest. So this is quite a nice idea. What was a bit awkward again was, since the service wasn't quite ideal, they made the odd decision to have the wine hour basically as a table service. So usually what I've experienced in other Andaz hotels around the world, and as well as in the Andaz Wall Street, is that you have a table with all the wines, maybe like a red wine and a white wine standing there, and you just go get it yourself, which I actually prefer. But in the Andaz on 5th Street, you actually had to order it from a staff member. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but the problem was that the staff was basically the same staff that also was responsible for checking you in. So if they were busy with guests, it was quite difficult to actually get the attention of them to come over. There was like a seating area next to the check-in area. It took quite a while to actually get the attention of the staff and actually get a glass of wine. So that wasn't ideal, I think. They could make some improvements there. Finally, one thing to mention is that you also have to pay a destination fee. Now, basically, Hyatt charges you $30 per night that you have to pay as kind of a fee or tax. The upside of that is that if you have the globalist status, you can actually get $30 of credit that you can spend inside the hotel. This means you can use it for the bar in the basement, for example, or for room service, as well as in-room movies, long-distance calls, and whatever you can spend money on in a hotel, basically. Now let's talk about the good stuff. So as I mentioned, the breakfast was basically one meal only, but to be fair, I had to say that it was really delicious. I was having some pancake with orange strips baked in. Sounds a bit odd, but it was really delicious, and also they were huge portions, so you will have enough food in the morning, I think. Then I have to say that while it was a bit tricky to get your glass of wine at the wine hour because of the busy staff, the general atmosphere was quite nice, because the Andaz on 5th is generally a small hotel and you don't have a lot of traffic coming in and out, people checking in, checking out. So basically, although you sit right next to the lobby, it was a bit of an isolated area where you could have a drink and relax. Furthermore, as with every Andaz, all the drinks and the snacks that are in the minibar are included. So again, this is to make up for the lack of a lounge. And I really love this because I just don't see the point in charging $10, $20 for a pack of peanuts and a Coca-Cola can if I can just get it at the kiosk next to the hotel. I don't know if they actually make a lot of money with that system, but I like that Andaz is taking a different approach and just say it's included, it's not a big deal, you just feel at home in your room. And the room is actually what we have to talk about, because this is, for me, the main point about the Andaz and why I like it so much. So we were offered 2 different rooms and we had a look at both of them, and we chose a room at a lower level because it actually had floor-to-ceiling windows, and it was just incredibly bright and also very spacious, especially for Manhattan. It was really easy to feel at home. The interior was modern, and so this was really nice. It looked very new and in good shape, so that was a big plus for the Andaz on 5th. And lastly, of course, we have to talk about the location. Location-wise, this is probably one of the, well, in my opinion, best hotels in Manhattan. You are, as the name says, directly on 5th Street. Basically, the entrance of the hotel is on a little side street, but it takes you 20 seconds and you're standing in front of Bryant Park, which is a beautiful park. You have all the shopping areas directly combined, and the Andaz 5th Avenue is very close to the Grand Hyatt New York, so in terms of location, they have the same advantages. You really reach every point that is interesting within that area super fast. You can walk to Central Park. This is something I really appreciate, and that's what makes the Andaz on 5th so much better, for me at least, than the Andaz on Wall Street, because the Andaz on Wall Street is a bit in the office area and there's not a lot going on, especially on the weekends or in the evening. So the Andaz on 5th is really in the middle of the bustling city. Okay, so that's it from my side. Like I said, I really like the Andaz on 5th. The rooms are modern and bright. The location is fantastic. There were some small minor issues, like the somewhat slow service for the wine hour and the breakfast that isn't a buffet. But overall, compared to the other Hyatt hotels that I've seen, the Andaz on 5th is definitely my favorite for Manhattan. Alright, see you guys in the next one.